breaking news from the Full of Chips podcast because we bring you everything you need to know. Harris Atlantic City in the summer of 2026.
Casino trip, full of chips. Wanna flip, double it.
Welcome to the Full of Chips podcast, the only chips you'll never lose, where the stakes are high, the takes are bold, and the conversations are always full of chips. With your hosts, Chris, the Dice Degen, and Craig from Old Bay Craps. You're tuned in to Full of Chips, the podcast where we dive into our own experiences into the world of gambling and share stories straight from the casino floor. Whether you're a recreational gambler, a seasoned pro, or just curious what the buzz is all about, you're in the right place. Each week, we break down the games, talk to the experts, and bring you tips that could tilt the odds in your favor. So grab your lucky charm, stack your chips, and let's roll into today's episode.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to episode 30 of the Full of Chips podcast, the only chips you'll never lose, with your hosts, Chris the Dice Degen and Craig from Old Bay Craps. Craig, how are we on this fine, anticipatory evening?
I have to say I'm pretty fucking excited. Number one, about our guest. Number two, about the women's ice hockey team winning gold at the Olympics.
Yes.
Pretty fucking excited. So go USA. That's where I am right now. I'm ready.
Yes,
How
sir.
are
Yeah,
you?
no, I was excited. I was excited for that USA game. I'll be honest. I was watching and I was not enjoying the watch for a while.
Yeah,
Not
it was
because
a
I
rough
wasn't
one.
I not because I wasn't excited. I'm just used to them just, beating teams down. And it seemed like there was a magnetic field around that net and that Canadian goalie. I mean, she would not let anything in. But great coaching move. 2 minutes left in the third. We pull the goalie, get the sixth attacker on. Beautiful shot from the top of the point. Hillary Knight with a little redirect into the back of the net. Beautiful. And then Keller with the OT goal. I was dancing around. I was jumping around. I was jumping around this morning too. I've been jumping around all day. I was watching curling this morning, and when the
There you
U.S.
go.
women went to overtime, and they won in overtime to get into the semifinals, I was jumping around for that.
Nice.
And then
Nice.
U.S. women's hockey, jumping around for that. I was like, we're just jumping today. We're good.
Let's give a shout out to Knight, because she just got the record, the Olympic record for the most goals scored, whether it's men's or women's hockey. So that's pretty awesome.
Legend. Good for her. I'm happy for her too, because I feel like she's been on this team for a while and had to deal with a lot of trials and tribulations and not getting there. And this year, this Olympics, they got there.
Well, it's her third gold. They won it at Nagano in 1998, and then they won it in 2018. Really nice to see. Really nice to see, because I'm sure some of the people on the team possibly were in the 2018 Olympics. And then, the downfall of the 2022 Olympics, and then scoring the gold in the 2026. I mean, that's legend.
Legendary. Yeah.
The men have
No,
to
I'm happy
catch
for
up
her.
because the men won it in 1960 and then 1980.
Yeah. Well, listen, I'm hoping this episode drops the day after the gold medal game. Now, we know we're playing in the semis. We know that. We got what do we got? Slovakia tomorrow, I think.
Yeah,
But
Slovakia.
hopefully when this drops, and I may have to wait to finalize the editing to put something in here. I'm hoping, we're praying that we have another miracle moment and we get that gold medal.
That would be amazing to have both, because it's never happened.
Yep.
They've never both won the gold in the same Olympics.
No. So let's see what happens. Let's see what happens. Hopefully a strong ending for the Olympics, because the U.S. they've been doing all right, but they're not at the top right now, and they won't get to the top. But we need some big victories.
How many times have we watched freestyle skiing, downhill skiing, ski jump, and the U.S. are nowhere to be found?
Nowhere to be found. They're non-existent. I'm like, did you even compete in this event? I had to go look at like the qualification. Like, were they even considered?
Yeah, and then we got silver in snowboarding, but I mean, come on.
Also, shout out Michaela Schifrin. Nice win on the slalom yesterday. She shook off the scaries, got rid of those demons. She took home the gold. So shout out to her, because that was a big question mark. And if she didn't win gold, if she medaled maybe, but if she didn't win gold, And if she, God forbid, she didn't place, oh my, I don't know. Like I know
Well,
she's won in the past, but
yeah, absolutely. But you know that I'm also a fan of figure skating. I've been watching it since the 70s. And on the same day, during the same time as U.S. women won gold, moments later, Elisa Liu won the women's figure skating in the free skate. Amber Glenn, who was the front runner for U.S. going into the Olympics, had a poor short program. She missed doing a technical aspect and she got dropped to 13th place, but she nailed her free skate and went from 13 to 5th. So I mean, hey, for like a good 15 minutes she was in first place, but she rounded out the bottom 12. Then the top 12 skated. And
okay.
so nice gold all around today. Really
Oh yeah,
exciting
oh
day
yeah.
in USA sports.
A very exciting day in U.S. sports. A very exciting day for our guest that we have on.
Hell yeah.
Um, I'm excited. We'll see how the folks at home, if they some of the folks have been guessing. And I will say a couple people did guess correctly. Um, but it's okay because we're gonna have our guest on soon. But Craig, guess what? I found something out this past week. Found something
Before
out.
you tell anybody what that is, because I am not privy to it yet, what are you drinking?
Oh yes, yes. We gotta make sure the windpipes are nicely lubricated for our exciting interview. I
Boy,
have Four Roses and Diet, tried but true staple. Just felt right today. What are you drinking tonight?
I have gone the Degen route and I've finished off the crown with Diet Coke.
Oh, there you go. Mixing up the Coke and the Diet Coke today. Yeah, no, good bevies, good bevies. Diet Coke is a staple. Um, You know what might be a staple though, Craig? Are you ready for the news? There's a few people who know this, but Degen's gonna be groundbreaking here and break the news because Degen was in Atlantic City on Monday for the multiplier. And shout out to the AC crew. I know they're killing it right now,
They're killing it.
killing
I've
it
never
right now.
seen so many dust bunnies from the AC crew.
Oh my God. I mean, back to back ATSs, back to back mornings. Shout out Sweet Lou and Ted Midnight Train. Um, saw in the group. Unfortunately, I was not there for those hits. I was only there on Monday. But on Monday, I did find out, Craig, guess what Harris is bringing in to the casino?
What is Harris bringing in
Crap,
to the casino?
crapless craps.
Crapless. Oh, shit.
Crapless.
Okay.
Yes.
It's
So
about time.
I did some sleuthing. They don't know officially yet. It'll be there sometime in the summer,
Okay.
2026. I was trying to find out though if the VIG will be collected up front or if it will be on the win. The Borgata collects it on the win. I don't know what Hard Rock does, to be honest with you. I forget. But they think it's going to be before, and I think that will be a big deterrent for a lot of people if they collect the VIG beforehand.
But that's interesting because I thought actually all East Coast was before. So the Bagata doing it like Vegas,
So they collect on the 4 and 10 before.
Okay.
On the outside extremes 2, 3, 11, and 12, they collect on the win, which is really nice, especially for somebody who's betting large amounts on those numbers, right? Like this week, when I was in Atlantic City, right, there was a gentleman in our group who had massive bets on the 4. I'm talking orange chips on the 4.
Yeah.
But you're paying the VIG for that up front. So, like, let's say you have $1,000 on the 4, right? You're paying your 5% VIG, which is $50 up front. Now, if you have $3,000, you're paying $150 up front. You have 6,000, you're paying $300 up front, right? So, like, it gets pricey quickly. So, for those extremes, hopefully they will do it on the win. The Caesars doesn't know. The pit boss who I was talking to doesn't know yet, but breaking news from the Full of Chips podcast, because we bring you everything you need to know. Harris Atlantic City in the summer of 2026 will have crapless craps.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Especially with somebody like you who throws horn numbers.
Yeah, funny enough, I on Monday we were playing. We were on the ATS table. I had like a mid 20 roll or decent roll. I hit the tall, but I hit aces 4 times and I hit the midnight 3 times during that roll.
And if you had been on crapless,
If I've been on crapless, we would have seen some large bets. I can tell you that because there were some large bets on the table as it was,
Now,
and you can't really even bet those.
if it's like the Harrah's in Vegas, their crapless also has repeater bets.
Interesting. I don't know if they will do that. There is no repeater bets in Atlantic City at all, which kind of sucks.
This might be the first.
Might be the first. Might be the first. Well, we'll have to check it out when it gets down there. But crapless craps. I'm gonna have to play it. I mean, I love playing crapless, even though I've played it like once in my life. I have, for the folks at home who don't know, I have half a crapless layout on my table. And it's fun when you're hitting those horns and you can get those bets up nice and high. The payouts are sweet. But again, vig on the win, not up front. Because I got to pay vig up front. I'm going to be a little sad.
Yeah, but don't players, sorry, you can't play crapless.
No don't players on the crapless table. That's what I think is going to draw a lot of people over there.
Yeah. Well, we know it's a favorite of our sister podcast, Casino Tears. They love the crapless.
Yes. They love a crapless table. And if you get on a table with a bunch of shooters, man, crapless, watch out.
Yeah.
Especially some horn throwers. Like if you can hit those horns, that's my the way I play crapless is actually from Ed. I like the way Ed plays crapless, so that's kind of how I play crapless because I adopted it from Mr. Roll to Win.
So I think we have to say in this episode that we followed up on our promise. We said that we were going to start doing videos again. And damn it,
yes,
if week didn't come through.
That was listen, Tuesday was a haymaker of a day.
Yeah, it was.
Craig drops a video, and I get the push notification. Craig was texting me beforehand, but I see that push notification. Old Bay Craps. I'm like locked in. Forget what's happening at work. Lock in. Gotta watch Craig's video. Great video, by the way. Nice shooting.
Thank you.
And then a good buddy Jeff, who was on this podcast, comes out with an afternoon live. I'm like, whoa,
Mac,
what's happening here? Meanwhile, you and I are texting during the day, and I had a video recorded that was dropping that afternoon. And OBC and Degen are back, baby.
And we've been talking nothing all week, but putting out more videos.
Yeah, Craig's got the itch again.
Yeah, got the itch again. I tell you, it was a little bit awkward because I hadn't done it. I literally have not done a video in almost a year. So I knew that the camera angles I had and the layout that I had was not really ideal, but I only had half a table now. So I had to use the Black & Decker stand as my throwing station again. But it does afford me to be able to go around the table so I can be dealer and player. So that makes it more fun and it stretches out a little bit of payouts. But I think we try to keep our videos. We know now through all the experience to keep our videos, try to keep them under 30 minutes.
Yep.
We used to do long videos, like 50 minutes, hour long, and only a handful watched. What I'm surprised is I hit the small or the tall in the video I did, and out of 16 thumbs, one of them was down. I guess they were angry because they didn't hit the all. But then here you go. Degen comes out 5 o'clock Eastern, 5:30 Eastern. He hits the all in his video. Congrats. Yeah. That was nice.
It's kind of funny. I texted you this after. I was like, kind of defeats the purpose of the video, but it's okay. Because like my whole goal with that video is to try to show like how to last at a table for a long time playing like pretty low volatility, and then I just hit the most volatile bet on the table. But oh well. Hey, that's how craps goes sometimes.
Well, I think what we learned is that through our experience and our play over the last 2 to 3 years, we just play it. Like we don't want to be not on it when it hits.
Exactly.
It's not that we don't give a shit about it. It's only $15 if you think about it that way. We want to make money in the boxes. But to not have it and to have it hit sucks from personal experience.
No, it definitely does. And like, I mean, I hit it when I was on it when I was in Atlantic City on Monday, but nobody else hit it on Monday. I didn't catch a side of the ATS the rest of the day. And that's from anybody shooting. And then as soon as I left, someone hit the full ATS. I was like, of course, it's fine, whatever. Glad the group's making money. And then, again, this is why we say when you're playing with shooters, it's really hard to stay away from those bets because they could hit it at any moment. And then you come to find out Tuesday morning, Wednesday, or I guess Wednesday, Thursday. Ted and Lou go back to back hitting it.
But they
Like,
weren't the only ones that hit it. Other people hit the
exactly.
ATS.
Yeah, that's what you got to be on it if you want. And like, I know we talk about, some negatives of the ATS. The way we talk about the ATS in a negative way, though, is that if the only reason you're making money is because of that, that's problematic. If you're using it as a bonus bet like it is, and you're making money in the box, good for you. Like, I don't discourage anybody from playing it.
Perfect example. Lou hit the ATS. Lou, who never presses much when he's playing. He said he had his 6 up to 90. I was floored. I was like, oh my God, what is happening in the world? Lou has his 6 up to $90. I mean, last time I saw $90 on a 6, Ed came to town to AC, and
That's the thing.
gets his 90. He gets his 90 in 2 rolls, but Lou said it hit. I think he said 6 or 7 sixes. Yeah.
Yeah. And see, that's the thing too. Like, I was texting Craig, ATS fire bet, same situation, right? Like, Monday morning, Ted hit the fire bet, 4-point fire bet, right? But I was texting Craig, like, I was up that session. The fire bet helped, of course, but on Ted's roll, I made triple what I made off the fire bet on box bets.
But that's the other thing, because, we're talking about ATS wins over the week. Plenty of people, other AC crew members, have hit multiple talls, multiple smalls, coming within one number of hitting the ATS. And then other people are hitting 4-point fire bets. Like, what?
Shout out to the AC crew.
I hadn't heard about that, the crew doing that well, since when you went. I think it was Jeff's meetup in Atlantic City in March, like 2 years ago. And I was thinking it was like the first night you all were just raking in the money. Like, they couldn't fill the chips fast enough for how much you guys were taking off the table.
Yep, that's a situation everybody wants to be in. See those dust bunnies racking up those chips in your rack and hopefully not giving them back.
Yeah, usually when I see dust bunnies, it's the $1 chips stacks that are coming out. So
yeah, no, shout out to the AC crew taking some money off the tables there, having some good rolls. Hopefully they continue through the rest of the week for those gents, and hopefully they continue in March when the next gathering of the AC crew will be.
All right, here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, shooters and dice setters, step right up, because today's guest is the real deal. He's a proud serviceman of our United States Army, a dedicated teacher of the craft, and one of the most respected voices in the YouTube craps community. He goes by many names, such as Chris and Mr. 51 Mixer. And if you've spent any time learning this game, you already know why he's such a fan favorite. He launched his craps channel right around the time as our own host, Dice Degen, and ever since he's been breaking down the game with a level of detail and clarity that few can match, and has an uncanny love for red. Whether you're trying to understand a strategy, refining your toss, or catching one of his occasional live shows, he's the guy who makes craps click. And let's be honest, if he drops that signature 5-1 mixer, you already know what to do. Hit that like and subscribe. So tighten up your grip, square your stance, and get ready to welcome to the Full of Chips podcast, Sideshow Gamble.
Hey, everybody.
What's up, Chris?
Welcome,
How
Chris.
we doing?
Oh, we're doing, man. We're living in Southern Alabama. It's hot.
Southern Alabama.
Jealous, because we have snow on the ground here.
You know, it did snow here, and I was very upset because I moved to Alabama because there's not supposed to be any snow, but yet it snowed.
At one point, there was more snow in Florida than there was in Iceland.
The random facts of knowledge you get on the Full of Chips podcast from Craig.
There you go.
I love it.
No, Chris, we're so glad we can have you on, and you can join us today. And well, I can say that there's been quite a few guesses on who our guest for episode 30 was going to be, because we teased it a little bit, and quite a few people were correct. But they did share with us that they were super excited to hear from you and have you on. So thank you for coming on, and we're looking forward to it.
Yeah, it's great to be back. You know, I gotta say thanks to Craig up there, because he's kept in touch with me throughout the last couple of years, just checking up on me, seeing how I was doing. And we had a conversation a couple of weeks ago, and he was like, you know, we're really excited for you're going to come back. You know, what are you planning on doing? And he just got to talking, and I got motivated, and I was like, you know what? He's right. I need to do what I enjoy, and I enjoyed this game, and I couldn't be happier to come back with both Craig and you. It's been a long road for all of us, and it's just awesome to see you guys again.
No, it's awesome to see you. I'll be honest, the first time I saw I mean, I knew you were coming back because obviously we lined you up to come on, and Craig was telling me and whatnot. Then I see the push notification. I'm like, what is this? I'm like, I thought that was broken. I'm like, I haven't seen a Sideshow push notification in so long. Forgot I had push notifications on. But I was happy. My face lit up when I saw it. So
it was because we talked about it. Craig and I did, and Craig's like, "Well, what are you thinking about doing?" And I was like, I'm still setting everything up, and I'm trying to remember how to do everything and the moves and everything we do just behind the scenes for doing a video, and because everything we do is live, like nothing is really edited. So trying to figure and remember all the moves and steps and not forget something, it's been a challenge. And Craig was like, well, are you going to come out at you're going to do one after the show we do? And I was like, I don't know. And then I was sitting there one day and Craig was in my head and I just got motivated and I was like, you know what? We're doing this right now. Let's just go. Let's go have a good time. So,
And that's the thing. All three of us, when we put out the video that day, including Mac, but Mac was live, but ours were recorded. Like, go ahead with your magnifying glass, people. You're not going to find edits in our video. We turn the recording on and we go through our strategy, we go through our rollout, and then we turn the camera off. The only thing we're editing is putting on our intros and our outros and a thumbnail. You're not going to find any edits during a roll because we don't bullshit you. If we 7 out, we 7 out.
oh,
And
yeah.
if we hit the ATS, we've hit the ATS. Like, it's real.
It always kills me, those comments, because like people will be like, you edited this, and I'm like, do you think I sat here and recorded 40 times to get the exact rollout that I wanted? If you think that, I can sell you a lot of things right now. Like, I will sell you the sun, the moon, and the stars, because if you think I had the time to record this to get the exact rollout, you're out of your mind.
I don't have the time of the day to sit there and re-record over and over and over. And I like it more that, we're showing it because when we play a strategy, it's like, okay, let's see, like the hopper. I mean, I came out with a video this past Thursday and it's the hopper, one of my all-time go-to strategy. It's my best performing video ever on the channel. And that video that I just came out with, I got destroyed on the table. It's like, all right, but I want people to see, hey, every strategy can win, every strategy can lose. It's just depending on what the dice do that day and what our disciplines are when we're at the table. If you're going for casual playing, it's great. If you're I'm going here to make money, then you got to have some discipline behind it. And I enjoy watching videos that just show the purity of it, the frustration, the anger, the excitement, all of it. If I see that in a video, that's getting a subscribe from me.
And the thing is, it might have actually gone further in that video had you had $1,000 bankroll, but you only had a $500 bankroll in that video. So as many sevens as unfortunately came out, that wiped out the bankroll.
Oh yeah,
quick.
Oh yeah, but again, that lets people realize again, and the videos I'm doing are more because I've kind of changed what I'm doing on the channel. And I'm going to be doing lives, and the lives are when I'm actually shooting the dice and I want to make money. The recordings are just kind of explaining a strategy that I'll probably do in a live, but I just want people, I've watched a lot of people play the hopper, and I've watched a lot of videos on it, and a lot of people don't understand the premise before the profit. It's the profit is funding the hopper. If you don't have the profit, you don't come out of your rail more money. You stick to the discipline of, I get it out there, I get the hit, and then I go into the hop. If I don't have it, I don't have it. You can chase it. You can chase it one time. It's all dealer's or player's choice. And again, if it loses, it was the day for it to lose. It's all good. Thank God we play with fake money.
I would say a lot of a lot of the videos now versus 3 years ago, a lot of people are just trying to get out of the hand in less than 2 hits. And I think you were showing it Sideshow on your show with the Hoppa. It takes 2 hits to get out of the hand.
Mm-hmm.
And then Chris, you're usually showing getting 2 rolls and then it's paid for. Your 6 and 8 are paid for.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really as disciplined as that, but what I like about something that I do is just that I like to get to a point where I'm already out of the hand, and then I get a couple of hits, and then I that's when you know when to regress.
Mm-hmm.
And both of you have shown on your channels when to regress. And you have to have regression as part of your discipline.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think that's, as I guess this would be the best time to say it. What I'm trying to go to as I've sat and become more mature from being a kid, although I'm not a kid, I'm in my 40s. So I don't know. Craig might give me crap for that. But what I've learned that I want to get to doing is, like, I'm an avid football watcher. I'm a big Buffalo Bills fan. I love Josh Allen. You know, he's an awesome guy. I think he doesn't have a good offensive line or wide receivers, but that's not this conversation. But what I will take away from watching the game is their game plan. And I always watch the quarterback's always looking down at his wrist. He's like, all right, what's this move? And it's, as I've studied that a little bit more, I'm trying to apply that to things in life. And craps is probably one of the big things that I would apply it to is, okay, when I come up to a table, this is my go-to start out. Within 2 rolls, if I'm out of the hand, I'm going to this strategy. But if the table starts throwing big red, all right, what's the strategy that I'm going to transition to? Because again, that's what I love about craps is it doesn't matter what side you play. You can make money. You just have to be able to read it. And if you can read it, you can make money. And I want a go-to, like, okay, I'm out of the hand. Am I feeling comfortable? Do I want to be aggressive or do I want to be conservative? If I'm going conservative, it's just like a line chart. I'm out of hand. Aggressive, conservative. All right, well, I want to be aggressive. Well, is my bankroll more than X number of dollars? Yes. Okay, this is my aggressive strategy. No. Okay, well, I can do a conservative aggressive. Or, no, I want to be conservative. And just kind of have it. I don't know if I'm allowed to have that card at the table, but something that just quick, simple, in, out, get what I want. And then if you talk to Ed from Roll the Win, as he would say, if you're out of that hand and you're on casino money, press to the moon, because you never know if that's going to be a 100, 200 rolled hand. Then again, I wish I had that. Then I would retire now.
Yeah, I think we all do. No, it's a key point there, right? And like that's something we talk about a lot too, on podcasts and videos that we put out on the channels and stuff is the discipline piece of things, right? The bankroll management piece of things. And I think a lot of people struggle with that. And they're so set on I want to do this and I'm not gonna switch off that. And sometimes the dice are not going to be in your favor. They're not going to cooperate, and you have to switch off that, or else you're going to be out of there really, really quickly. And, sometimes the dice will turn around and they'll be in your favor and it'll work out for you. But more often than not, table's cold and you're playing some light side strategy. Well, maybe you can't go out as aggressively. Or maybe you have to dial it back, collect a few hits. And that's why, we all talk about the regressions, the couple of hits and you're quote unquote out of the hand. So then you are on casino money, pressing up and doing what you please, right? It's a lot easier to press on casino money than it is on your own money.
Well, it's also funny because I think for like new players, like when I was beginning to back into playing after a couple of years, and when I was in Colorado and I started playing again, you get this in your head, like, I've got a great strategy and I'm throwing good. I can go to any table and I'm going to hit it big. And you get that in your head. It's like, no. And then you get that nervousness, because I can tell you this much. When I'm playing at home on my table and I have a $500 bet out there, it's like, it's $500. This is easy. When I was up at Ameristar with Jeff from Mid-Atlantic, and he came out to see me in Colorado, and we were on that table, even Jeff and I were like,
yeah. It's tough.
You're not as aggressive, because it's like, that's actual live money. Now, we all say it. You should never go to the casino with money that you can't just throw out the window on the drive there. If you need that money, you shouldn't be at the casino. However, we all save, build those bankrolls, and then we go. It's like, all right, I've built this bankroll. It took me a month or 2 to build, or 3 months. I don't really want to lose it in 10 minutes. So, but again, that's why we do the regressions. That's why we do the get out of the hand as quickly as possible, get on that casino money. And again, I got to agree with Ed on it. It's like, you got to not be scared to just go, okay, I'm on casino money. I've got the money I brought. That money, let's see if it goes. And then you maybe do a power press, a full press, and collect on the next one and really start pulling in the chips. But again, that's a hard thing to get over that hump.
Yeah.
So,
you got to be comfortable with it, and you have to, be comfortable with yourself and your bets out there and stuff. And, there's nothing wrong with collecting, right? I think a lot of people get that in their head too, right? They're out of the hand, and then it's like, I want table max. Yeah, table max is great, but there's nothing wrong with collecting a few times going to table max. And if you get there, great. Hopefully you collect a few times there, but there's nothing wrong with it. And, you made a good point, right? With the, not bringing money that you can't afford to lose, right? There's also the idea too, though, that, you're profiting and you want to take more money away from the casino. So feel free to collect, right? Because then you can grow your bankroll more, build up more money in your rack that, hey, maybe you go buy yourself something afterwards, right? A lot of people like to reward themselves after a nice session. You go buy something and great. It's better than giving it back to the casino. So rack those chips, build the bankrolls, and you'll be set and on your way.
I think one of the important things is if you're going to play a certain way and not veer from it, you just have to have the bankroll to keep going.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you have to read the table. You have to read the table and adapt to what's happening and change course.
What's funny is you say that, and I love that you bring that up, is the bankroll. And we've all heard it, bring enough for 10 shooters. I think, Casino Quest says it all the time. You should have a bankroll to hit 10 shooters. And what's funny about that is you have to be disciplined enough to realize, okay, this is the strategy. Say it's a $400 bankroll and you're doing a $40 table strategy and you're just playing the 6 and 8. You get first hit, you press, second hit, you go out to 96, and then you just, start collecting here and there. Because you get 2 collects, and then after that, all the way to 96, you're out of the hand. The issue is when you keep getting those PSOs, people go to, all right, I've got to change the strategy, and we don't stay disciplined because you're going to get a PSO. It's going to happen. John got me at one of the craps for the cures. I was out there for 330. I was like, woo yeah, wiped gone. And I was like, oh, that's fun. And I think that was at Binion's down on Fremont Street. But it's when you're going, you got to have, if you're going to have fun, do a small bankroll and just go out there and have a great old time. I remember I was playing with Dice Dr. Dan, and we were out in I think we were at the Fremont on Fremont Street, and I was just picking up the dice and hucking them, and I was making money. I wasn't even paying attention to anything. I was just having a conversation, drinking whiskey, and throwing dice. I kept knocking a guy on the other end of the table off the don't, and he was getting pissed. It was like, I'm just having a good time. But if I'm going to make money, then I at least need to go with a game plan in my head of, okay, like I was talking, I'm going to start here, but if it's doing this, like if I see 3 PSOs or I see 3 rolls that don't go past 4 or 5 rolls and it's 7 and out, I'm going to transition to a dark side strategy. What that is, I still don't know yet. But if it's a light side, it's like, all right, I'm getting out of hand and now I'm pressing the max and see what we can get. At least maybe a full press, a power press, collect on the next hit, whether it hits the power press or not. There's so many different options. That's what I love about the game.
Well, one of the things you've done often in your videos is you're a 110 guy.
Yeah.
You go 110 inside versus most people just start 66 inside. What I love about the video you put out before the Hoppa one, the first one really you came back with, is you go 110, you get 2 hits, you then go down to 66 inside, but then you take one more collect.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that part about it, is that you take that one more collect, because most people just start pressing from there. They think, oh, well, I've made $70. I'm going to go 66 inside and I've got $4 profit. Yeah, that's true. But as soon as if a 7 hits, boom, it's gone. If you just start pressing from there, great. But if you take that one more collect, it's great to have, instead of $4, you've got 25.
Yeah.
At least you made a quarter.
At least I can put a quarter tank of gas in my car.
Yeah. That's a tank of gas, right?
So and again, it's and I love watching people play. I love betting on other people, because when you're at the table, you want to have that action going. You don't want to just be like, oh, I'm waiting for my turn to shoot or somebody that I know. But and that's where, and I didn't create the $40 table strategy. I don't even know who did. That's been around for years. But I can throw $40 on somebody. And that's one of the, again, we've been talking about it. That's part of that game plan. If I go to the casino, like, I think my buy-in would be $1,500. That's my bankroll. But let me break that down. The bankroll is $1,000 for me, so I can do my 110. The $400 is for other shooters, so I can get 10 shooters out of that, and it's $40. That's it. You get $40. You blow it, it's because you 7'd out. Yeah, well, I'm out $40. And then I've got $100, and that's those prop bets. You know, if I want to play the ATS, if I'm feeling it, maybe I want a yo, or I want a horn high, something of that nature. And again, I'm breaking the bankroll down. I just wish I had more rails so that I could kind of separate that better. Because you just start throwing chips in if you're on a great roll. But what I love about it,
we talked about that in the previous podcast about having using your rails. Like
yeah,
most people just put their chips in the front rail, but it's like you have two rails. Like segment your stuff, and then if you're going to play prop bets, make that separate from your buy-in. Make it a separate part. Like if you have $600, $100 is prop bets, and that's it.
Yeah.
When it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah. And again, it's like the way I like to do my rail is the back rail is my bankroll. And if I pull $110 out and I put it, I know that I started with 110. So as I'm collecting, because I don't look up, if I know what I'm doing and I'm on a roll, I don't look at my bets. I just press it. I know what I'm rolling. They say it out loud, and I'm like, press it one, half press it, full press, whatever it is. But as I'm sitting there and I'm collecting, I will collect and throw in that front rail until I see 110. When I see 110, I grab it while they're doing the bets are paying out or whatever, and I throw that 110 back in my bankroll in the rear rail, and then everything else I pull goes in that front rail. And then when the hand's over, it's like, okay, I'm in profit X number of dollars, and then I'll take that and it goes in the rear rail over to the side. That way I know this is the bankroll, that's the profit, I'm ready for the next shooter. And it's just, again, these are the things you don't know until the real test is, you know, we've all thrown dice at home. I'm sure a lot of your viewers and a lot of brand new craps players, they go buy some dice, they get a rollout felt, and they go practice, and they're checking out the strategies and so forth. But you're really never going to truly test something until you're at a live table and you start realizing, okay, it moves. I've been at casinos where it moves slow. I've been at casinos where it's, oh, wow, the dice are already back to me. And you get that nerve going. And it's, I mean, we all sweat, all right? When I'm on a good roll or I've got a bet out there that I know is $500 and it's like the back of my neck is just like, okay. And you start thinking about it. It's like, should I pull down? But again, if you've got the discipline and you understand how you're managing your rail, these are things you learn over time. Or you watch video or podcasts like this and it's like, oh, I never thought about that, you know? And it's all about helping other people, because I'm all about taking casinos' money and putting it in my own pockets. And, you know, however you win that money, whether it be on the dark side, the light side with craps, I'm cool with either way. I'm never going to get angry at anybody on the table. If I see somebody at the other end of the table playing the don't and I'm playing light side, I'm like, go for it, bro. You know, get your money. Because if that's how you feel it's playing, I'm not angry at you. Just don't put your stack of chips in front of mine. Dice landing zone.
Yeah.
I'll be happy.
Don't be an asshole, and don't be yelling 7 and trying to cause problems, because that's when then I actively look to snipe you off.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Right.
otherwise, like, that's the thing, right? People don't understand that you can make money on all sides. I know some people have a real aversion to the don't. That's fine, right? A lot of people play the game. Why? And Ed said this plenty of times on casino tiers and stuff. You can't make 30 grand playing the don't unless you're playing massive levels, right? Or you're at the tables for a long ass time. You can realistically do that on the light side if you catch a good roll, right? Now, obviously, your bets have to be right. You have to catch a roll of a lifetime, but you could do it, right? You're not going to make $30,000 betting $25 on the don't.
No.
You're going to be at the casino until you retire.
Yeah.
But you can do it. It's just going to take you a long time. But I like your rack tip there that you made with using the back rail for your buy-in, putting profits in the front rail, and then moving those back to get your rack reset. That's another key spot that a lot of people, regardless of the game they're playing, right? Craps, roulette, blackjack, whatever game you're playing, most people do not know what's in front of them at any given time, and they have no clue where they are, right? They'll buy in for $1,000 and then they'll look down and be like, oh shit, I only have $300 left in front of me. Or, I came to the casino to win, let's say $500. They have $1,500 in front of them and they keep playing because they don't realize they have $1,500 in front of them.
This is why I love my wife to death. Diana is awesome. When we were in Vegas, we went for our anniversary, and I was playing at Caesars. She loved playing slots, so she'd go over and play slots. But what she was doing is I was throwing dice, and I think this was actually down at the Fremont. She was over on a slot machine. I'm out there throwing. I got my hat and all that stuff. I won it because I shot it. I didn't buy it.
There you go.
Got the picture on the channel if you want to go see it. So I was throwing and I was getting good wins and I was making money, But I kept looking down at my rack and I'm like, I've got there's no profit in the rack. Well, what I didn't realize is after I colored up and I was done, I was down like $100. And I was like, damn. And I go find my wife and she's like, all right. And we're getting ready to leave. She's like, well, we got to go to the cashier's cage. I was like, for what? She's like, and she dumps her purse in my hand. She's like, oh, I kept stealing $100 chips out of your rail when you weren't watching. I was like, I love you. That's awesome. Like she was looking out for me, just making sure that, because she knows I can get in the zone and I'm just there and I want to just keep playing because I'm enjoying the game. It's not about the profit at that moment in time, but in the end, it is about the profit. And she would just come, take one or two and just put them in her purse and one or two more. And I was making money, so my bankroll looked like it was fine, but she was taking money out of it. So there was like all my wins were just restacking the bankroll. So in the end, I was up and I was very happy. And then we went and had Hell's Kitchen dinner. So that was a price.
There you go. That's what's nice though sometimes about like having, somebody with you at the tables or like having the wife at the table, right? Like, I know when she comes to tap me, time to go, but like mine is also sitting there organizing my bankroll. So Jen showed her this thing with organizing my bankroll. Whenever she's at the table with me, she's touching my bankroll. Like I barely even use it because she's playing with it, doing whatever. And I'll tell her like, here, grab $30, toss it to the dealer for this. And she throws it out there because she's playing, organizing my chips for me and whatnot. But mine's done the same thing where, you sit there and she starts grabbing some chips. I'm like, what are you doing? Like, get off. And then she's like, no, I'm taking these. So you have them. I'm like, all right, fine. But like, you got to let me know how much you're taking. So I mentally know how much is actually in the rack, because if I'm playing for a set win goal, I need to know when it's time to go. Because if you're taking them and I don't know, then I might keep playing.
That's the downside to it, I guess.
Yeah, but usually she's only, stashing those away when it's a long roll. Like we've talked about the roll of the Golden Nugget, right? She was at the table with me and the whole crew was there, and I ran out of room in the rack. Great problem to have, right? And her pockets became my secondary rack because she just kept stuffing in the pockets. And then when it was time to color up, I throw my chips in the cum area. I'm like, I'm coloring up. And then here's her unloading her pockets just on the table. And I'm like, oh, yes, thank you.
That's great.
Great feeling.
Yeah. Can't beat that one.
Let's walk it back. Let's walk it back. Young Chris.
Okay.
So how did you get into gambling? Because I think a lot of our viewers want to know.
So,
and tell us how you came up with Sideshow as your handle.
So I'll start with how I came up with Sideshow as the handle. So when I decided to start, it was actually my son came home he was in Germany, and he came home and he saw that I had just a little felt and I had a cardboard box when I got back into it. And he's the one that actually got me into YouTube. He was like, Dad, you need to do YouTube. I'm like, I am not doing YouTube. He's like, you need to do YouTube. And he got me all set up. He created the channel. And he's like, Dad, I need a name for the channel. And the only thing I can think of is our call sign in OIF3 when I was deployed to Iraq back at the beginning, back in 2004 to 2005. I think that's one of the years. Our call sign, we had a shack we built, and it was the Sideshow, because we were a bunch of crazy young people that were like, yeah, let's join the military and go to Iraq. This seems like a great idea. We were just a bunch of goofballs, but our call sign was Sideshow. And I was sitting there, I was like, well, this is going to be a goofball funny thing because I'm just going to make a fool of myself every day. So I was like, Sideshow. And he's like, all right, well, what's it going to be about? I was like, gambling. He's like, Sideshow Gamble. Sideshow Gamble is how that was born. And when I was practicing all the time, I did nothing but sevens. So I just love that number, apparently. But I got back into, when I was doing some training out at Edwards Air Force Base many moons ago, me and my compadres at the time, we got a long weekend and we were like, let's go to Vegas. And we went to Vegas and we had a good time, played all the table games, but I really got into craps because I like numbers. I enjoy the math behind it. And I felt that was really the game in the house that, you could probably really take advantage of if you understand math and how it pays out. I really don't care about house edge. It's just like, okay, well, if I do this, I can do this. You can do hedging, you can do all that stuff. And then I kind of stepped away from it for a while. I was like, all right, cool. Well, then I PCS'd from Alaska down to Fort Carson, Colorado. And I walked into work one day and my soldiers, so my platoon, they came in, they were all hooping and hollering, having a great old time. And I'm like, we were talking, I don't even know what we were really talking about, but we got on a conversation about are, somebody made a comment. They're like, oh, I got no money left. And I turned around. I was like, we just had payday on Friday. How do you have no money left? That's ridiculous. Do you not have a budget? And he's like, no, we went up to the casino and, I lost all my money. I'm like, what were you doing at the casino? We have a casino? Yeah, Chief, there's a casino up in Cripple Creek. There is? Oh, there's several. I'm like, I didn't know that. And then they were telling me, I was like, well, what game were you playing? They're like, oh, I was playing craps. I was like, do you know how to play craps? And they're like, well, yeah, you put the money out there and you throw the dice, and if it hits, you get paid. I'm like, okay, well, do you know any strategies, or do you not understand how the payouts go? They're like, no. So I pulled out a whiteboard. We got to talking about it. And then I went home and I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to start. I didn't know we had a casino here, because I can do that on the weekend when I'm bored out of my gourd. And then I got a little felt and I started doing that. My son came home from Germany and he was like, oh, Dad, you need to do videos. And I'm like, yeah, that's not going to be a thing. Lo and behold, here we are. So, but yeah, that's how the Sideshow Gamble was a call sign we had. And then Craps it was my soldiers. I just wanted to teach them, if you're going to go and you're looking to make money, then go with a plan. And, I taught them a few things, and they went up and had a great old time, and they did great. So I got to give hats off to those guys for, staying disciplined to understanding the math. And it just turned into another thing. And we created a YouTube channel, and it was like, all right, I enjoy doing it. It's not about making money off YouTube. It's about, I enjoy showing what I remember when I came out with the hopper, I was like rushed home and was like, I think I took off my top. I turned on the cameras. I was like, we're doing this right now. I was losing my mind on the very original one. And I was like, watch this. This is, because I was driving and I'm like, there's no way that works. I got home, I played with it real quick, and I was like, oh, wow, let's do a video. And again, that was the best performing video I've ever had on this channel. And that just excited me even more. So
That's amazing.
That is awesome. I've never known how that came about. So I learned something new today too, because I did not know about that. That's pretty cool though, how like the whole origin of the channel and like teaching, your platoon members and stuff. It's funny that they picked Craps, because if they picked a different game, would you have picked a different game, or was Craps would have been your game still?
Craps would have probably still been my game. I was also a roulette guy. I enjoy doing roulette. But roulette's it's a simple game. That is 100% pure luck of how the wheel spins. And it's just your best guess. You can cover most of the board, and it's like it's a 50-50. But what I liked about Craps is it's all on the math. It's like, all right, I can go out there with a 6 and 8. I get one hit. Like, say I did an $18 6 and 8. I'm out for $36. I get one hit. I got $21. It's like, all right, I can pull down. And I walk away with $21. Really? And I like it that you can play it on other people. You can, like, so if somebody gets on a long run, everyone's making money. We could pick that table up and rock out of the casino with it. It's just exciting. It's energetic, and it pumps you up. And we all know that feeling when you're at a great table. It's just exciting, and you're like you're on a high, and it's like it's the best day ever. Whereas if it's a bad table, and like I've been on one, I lost $1,500 in about 20 minutes, and that was up in Cripple Creek. I was all excited. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do this, and sevens. And I was like, and I didn't change the strategy. I just stuck to it, and I had to drive home after 20 minutes there, and try and explain to my wife that, hey, that bankroll that I saved for, yeah, it's gone. And it was gone in 20 minutes. And she's like, what? And it's like, okay, well, lesson learned. Again, it's one of those things I think you have to go through. Hopefully not $1,500, but you have to go through losing to realize, to bring you back to reality and go, okay, I got to have somewhat of a plan. Again, if I'm going to have fun, that's one thing. If I'm going for the purpose of making money, then I got to have that plan.
If you have no discipline, you will never win.
Exactly.
Yep. And unfortunately, I feel like you do have to go through like those losses or like really undisciplined moments to learn, right? Like we talk about it a lot, right? And there's a lot of people who talk about it, and people listen and they're like, yeah, that won't be me. That won't be me. Because, everybody walks into the casino with a huge ego first time, and then you get humbled pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Right. And it takes that learning lesson to then maybe actually put some like brains in and be like, all right, I actually have to learn the game, or I have to understand bankroll management, or, one of my favorite things is like not bringing your debit card to the casino. Right. Don't bring it. Just leave it at home altogether. Right. And like I've seen people, I even saw it. I was at the casino on Monday in Atlantic City, and playing blackjack, and there was this kid who was playing next to me who you bought in for $300 or whatever he bought in for. And I mean, just willy-nilly stacks out there. Like, no concept of how much money was even out there. It was a $25 table, didn't understand the game at all, right? Like, didn't know when to hit, didn't know when to stay, nothing. And just taking stacks of chips and just throwing them out there. And he managed to catch 4 winning hands in a row. And he just kept stacking money. That 300 turned into 1,500 like that.
Yeah,
And I'm sitting here and I'm flat betting, and I'm like, oh, I look like a friggin' moron because I actually know what I'm doing, and I haven't made anywhere near what this guy's doing, and I've had winning hands. Well, a few hands later, all 1,500 is gone.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, what? Like, where did it all go? And I'm sitting there and like, I don't like to give advice at the tables because most people don't want to hear it, right? And I don't give unsolicited advice when people don't want to hear it.
Yep.
But I told the kid when he lost it and he was going back to his wallet to go grab more money, I said, hey, dude, like, I'm not telling you what to do. You can do what you want to do. I said, why don't you go pull up like Blackjack basic strategy card? Or why don't you go watch a few videos on Blackjack or learn a little bit about the game, then come back and play? And he was like, well, why would I go do that? And I'm like, well, if you understand the math of the game and you understand a little bit more about the game, you'll be more informed and you'll be able to make better decisions and hopefully win money. And he's like, well, I just won a ton of money. And I'm like, you got lucky. You got good hands that just happened to beat the dealer's hands, and that's why you won.
Exactly.
He actually took my advice, believe it or not. He went off, watched a few videos, came back with his phone with a basic strategy card open on his phone.
There you
I
go.
was like, all right, here you go.
Influencing.
He
Again,
bought in for another 300, and he ended up winning. He was up to 500, and I told him, I said, listen, I know it sucks that you lost the first time. Right now, you're only down $100 overall. Not a bad time to leave.
and that's one of the things that I tried to do videos on is whatever you bring for a bankroll, you got to have realistic expectations. And I don't remember who said it, but like 10%. So if I bring $100 and that's what I buy in with, and I make $10, I make $10. Walk away. You don't have to stop playing for the day. Just walk away for a little bit, relax out. But that scales. So if I bring 1,000 and I win $100, again, it's boring. It's not fun. Nobody wants to do that. But if you're really wanting to go and make profits, hey, I'm going to go play craps 4 different times a day, and I'm going to play for 20% each. Or 5 times, I'm going to play for 20% each with $1,000 bankroll. Once I'm up 200, I walk away for a couple hours, go to another casino, come back to the same table. It doesn't matter. Play again for 20, 30 minutes, get up another 200, walk away again. If I do that every day for like a 5-day trip to Vegas, I'm $1,000. That's a $5,000 trip. And I only have the bankroll that I started with 1,000. And I'm walking out with money. So, and that way you keep your expectations leveled. So if you have a bad day or a bad session, it's like, okay, I got to walk away. But again, don't ever go gamble with money that you need. If you couldn't take that money and throw it out the window, you shouldn't be gambling. That's my 2 cents.
No, it's 100%
But that's the way you got to
accurate.
think about it. We talk about having a plan, and I Chris and I were talking about on a previous podcast that I went right before New Year's and literally sat down. My goal, I brought 300. My goal was to win $100, and sat down, played blackjack for 7 hands in, and I'm already up 110. So I walked up from the blackjack table, walked around a little bit, said, you know what? I can't come to a casino and not play craps. So I played 1 shooter, won an additional 40, and I was like, brought a $300 bankroll. I'm up 150. I'm not playing the rest of the night.
50%.
And I didn't.
What is up, everybody? Brief interruption from our interview with Chris over at Sideshow Gamble. Again, reminder, if you haven't checked out his channel, it is linked down below. Go check it out. We got kind of on a tangent, had a little sidebar conversation, and can't put the first part of it in, but I think there were some really good nuggets that we discussed, so I did want to include those in with the full-length version of the podcast. So this is Craig, Chris, and I on a slight little tangent, but I really do like the points that were made here, so I wanted to include it. Hopefully you guys enjoy, and back to the interview with Chris.
But imagine think about that for a second. Imagine the discipline he's had and the skill set and experience that he has gained through the years to get to that point. I mean, what people see is
Oh
they
yeah.
see, oh, that's $1 million winner. What they don't see is all the work that he probably put in his lifetime to master a skill so that he understood things and how things play out. And again, that's only something you get when you are constantly exposing yourself to that different play styles, different, card draws, whatever it may be during
Yeah.
that game. The years behind that is astonishing. And that's the part that I look at now with certain players is it's not just this here and now moment. Like if you had asked me 3 years ago, oh, how do you manage your bankroll? I was like, I don't know. But now it's like,
Right.
okay, there's a skill set in that little piece of the game. There's a skill set
Yep.
in when I bet, when I press, when I collect. There's a skill set of, all right, I know my first 5 moves I'm going to make on the first 5 rolls, and I know them by memory, where I don't have to look at the table and go, no, give me the dice back. I'm going to throw them again. Let's get this, and then I'm out. And then it's like, okay, I know I'm going to half press everything from this point forward. And then I'm just going to look down, they're sliding it. That's a skill set that you get with experience. And hats off to him for doing that. I mean, that's a lot of years of experience right there.
But one of the things that, like you're talking about, he's learned over time that he knows what to expect every single shoe.
Yep.
So he basically bets one way for the first 10 hands, then bumps it up for the next 10 hands, then goes back and then bumps it up again. But during that, he knows that there's going to be swings of 3 wins here in a row, 4 losses here in a row, 3 wins here in a row. And that's what he's thinking about when he's playing. So he doesn't give a shit if he loses, pushes. He knows I'm expected to win this many during this shoe and this many losses during the shoe. And if I can catch more wins than losses, I know I'll be here amount wise.
Well, it's advice.
Yep.
And I explain to my kids because, we're parents and we give advice. And as I explain to my sons all the time, because they're all dealing with something different. And I tell them, it's like, look, your mother and I are not providing you advice to see you fail. We're providing you advice because we have experiences that we've learned from, and we're trying to let you have those lessons for free where it doesn't cost you. And not everything's a monetary thing. It's like,
Right.
You're going to be frustrated if you do this. My recommendation would be hold off with some delayed gratification, work on this a little bit, and then in 2-3 months, you'll be better off. And again, for him to provide that advice and want to come on and kind of say, hey, look, this is what I've learned. That's the best form of information, in my personal opinion, is it gives me, when I listen to everyone out there, there's so many different YouTube channels. There's so many different books on craps itself. When I hear everybody else, it's like, okay, yeah, I like seeing the strategy. The strategy's cool. I like seeing the rolls, and I like when I see good shooters, but I also want to see the bad stuff because that's going to tell me maybe that, that strategy is not the greatest, but there's some holes in it. Maybe there's no holes in it. There's always holes. Just saying that. There's no strategy out there that is 100% win rate. If there is, then he's not telling anybody or she's not telling anybody where it may be. So
no, he's shown us his practice sheets, which are 42 to 48 hands per shoe, and every single thing that happens, and what he bet, how he bet, whether it lost, whether it won, whether it was blackjack on the dealer, whether it was him getting blackjack,
Yeah, that is a commitment and discipline that I wish if everyone that ever went to a casino had that commitment and discipline, there wouldn't be any casinos.
But that's the genuine thing about our channels is that we're not showing you videos just to pump videos.
Yeah.
We're showing you shit that we did, failed at, or had some success with, and how you might want to think about doing it too, or think about the game differently than just going in and just tossing your bankroll and letting it on fire.
Craig, you make an excellent point. And again, if you want proof of that, go back and look at all our channels and our first videos. Just go rewatch one of your first or second, third video, and it's like, wow, I didn't know what I was doing. And compared to where you are today, now imagine 5 years from now. It's just like when you first started driving. We were not the greatest drivers. We thought we were. I've got 3 sons to prove it that thought they were. It's like you've been in a ditch 6 times in 6 months. I don't think you're that good of a driver. But then I have to look at it the same way with me. It's like, okay, when I started driving, I said the same thing, even though I know I wasn't a good driver. Whereas today, it's like, well, I've never been in an accident. I don't get speeding. You learn to master the craft as you get older. If we all had that skill set when we were younger, again, there'd be no casinos. It's as you get older, and if more people that are playing the games that we all talk about then and are listening and they're taking that advice, again, it's not a get rich quick scheme. People get lucky.
Yeah.
Won't lie, people do get lucky, but it's not everybody.
Yeah. It's all experience, right? And like, like you said, right, where you were giving, your kids advice, right? Based off of your experiences, right? We all grow with wisdom and knowledge based on our experiences, right? Yeah, sometimes you got to fall flat on your face. You buy in at the casino and you get torched quick. It sucks. You experience it though, and hopefully you learn from it. And that's really all you can do is learn from it, right? If you don't experience it, you can't learn from it. Like you said, you could think you're the best driver until you get put up next to Marco Andretti or Mario Andretti or whatever his name is. You suck.
Yeah.
Right? Go sit next to Max Verstappen. You're a terrible driver. I don't care how good you are. You're a terrible driver compared to those guys. And they have a lot of experience.
Exactly. 100%. 100%.
You know what takes a lot of experience, though? Craig, tell me what takes a lot of experience in the game of craps.
Well, it takes a lot of experience is learning how to toss.
Yeah. Yes.
We know that you have over time crafted your toss. You've shown tons of videos of you throwing to the point where you have cameras on your hand, your grip, landing zone, full table, where it goes every single time. And it's a discipline that you're teaching them. But we kind of want to ask you about two things. One, is there an origin story to the 5-1 mixer?
No, there's really not. I was being silly one day and I was like, I need a dice set. I need a dice combination that's like, that pops for my chest. Cause you heard, puppy paws, the
Right.
Old Bay bushel. You heard the 5-6. I think it was actually Ciro. Cause he had the yo and it was like mid-mo yo. And I was like, oh, that's pretty freaking cool. And I was like, well, and Ciro and I had this thing going between the two of us. And I'll tell you the story behind that. But we had this thing. And I was like, well, I got to have the 5-1. And I just called it the mixer because I was like, it looks like a mixing pot if I took the thing and just mixed it up a little bit. I don't know why. In my brain, it looked that way. It made sense to me. And the video he came out with, I think it was a short or something. And he called it the KitchenAid mixer. And I just was like, oh, that was low. That was so low. But the 5-1 it was a thing that Ciro and I had. And I don't know, I met Ciro at a Craps for the Cure, and he was an up and coming YouTuber. He was doing great. I loved his energy in the videos. And he was always he was a goofball, and I loved him for it. And it just was a great time. And Ciro and I hit it off really good. We met at Craps for a Cure. We had a great time. And then I think that first Craps for a Cure is where him and so everybody remembers the Sideshow Gamble versus Mid-Mo-Yo. I think a lot of people remember. If not, the videos are on Pro Craps channel, John from Pro Craps. I think he's still got them in his archives. But
I'll link them down below.
Oh, you're gonna link them down below? All right. So
I've got one myself because I set you guys up for one of your battles prior to going to Vegas.
I was sitting there one day and Ciro and I were on the phone talking with each other, and this wasn't recorded or anything. We were just chatting with each other, seeing how each other were doing after the Craps for the Cure. And we were sitting there talking and we're like, we need to do something different. We need to bring something different to the community and to our viewers. And he's like, all right, well, what do you want to do? I was like, why don't we act like we're angry at each other? Why don't we act like we're two polar opposites. We're just going to battle this out. And we didn't come up with a game plan behind anything. We didn't tell each other anything. We were just like, yeah, let's do that. And then we got off the phone, and then all of a sudden we just started doing shorts versus each other, throwing things at each other like, oh, those fedoras are mine. He's like, oh, I'm taking this. And we settled down on it was a buildup. And I remember I did a short where I was like, I'm going to throw. And then the short ended. And everybody was like, I knew that was going to happen. But I wanted his fedoras. I wanted them so bad, and I've got them. And they hang up in my craps house here. Took them down range with me. It was one of those things. And as Ciro and I were doing that, I was like, all right, well, he's going to give me the fedoras, and I've got to come up with something that he's going to want. Well, Ciro had that little foldable put away table. It was just like glued together. And
No, he made that. Yeah,
he made it.
I
It
think
was
he
all
even,
handmade,
even
and it was
designed
just
it. Yeah.
him and I had talked several times about he was saving up for a table. Well, I had bought the new table, the table I've got, and I had the old table. And I was like, well, I don't, my wife was like, you need to do something with this table. And I was going to sell it on Craigslist or Marketplace or something. I was like, you know what? Do we really need to sell it? She's like, I don't care. You're not keeping 2 craps tables. I don't care what you do. One of them is going. I'm like, well, it's not going to be the new one. So I was like, I'm going to throw my craps table up against him. I want the fedoras. If I win, if I win, I get the fedoras. If you win, I will bring you a craps table. And I think he was up at the casino when he saw that video, and he instantly did a live short, and he was like, it's game on. And it just, from that point forward, it was just a battle of battles between him and I. And I loved every second. We were shit talking each other like crazy. That's when he came out with the KitchenAid mixer, and I was like, "Oh, you son of a!" But it was
Well, I love
great.
the structure of how it was battles. It was actually like a series
Yeah,
of your knowledge of the game and how you play, and each battle is going to be a particular type, whether it's
yep,
light side versus dark side, or how you play dark side, how you play with a small bankroll, a free for all or whatever. Those battles were really fun because it was at the time where we were doing all the Friday night fights.
yeah,
So it wasn't. It had everybody involved. It had John involved, Pro Crabs. It had Chris
Yep.
Dice Degen doing Boxman. Jeff, I
Oh
think,
yeah.
did one of them too. I think
Yep.
I did one on
yeah.
my table. One of the battles.
Yep.
But it was just it was such great promos and great atmosphere, and just it was fun.
It, it
It was
was
really fun.
it brought us together, and I loved Ciro for it, and it was such a great time. And then we got to the next craps for a cure out in Vegas, and that was a blast because we both the challenges were to see how big we can get our bankroll. And then when we went to craps for a cure, that was at Casino Quest, we got to do the 30 roll challenge with David. And what was funny is you get the bankroll that you've earned throughout all the challenges. Whoever had the most money at the end of that was going to be the winner. And that's how we settled it. Ciro got to go first, and he lost it all in that 7. And well, I can't lose now. But at the end of the day, Ciro was going to get the table regardless. I'd already made that decision when we set it, because I had it packed up, and my wife's like, "You're not keeping 2 craps tables." So right before the deployment, before I rolled out to Iraq, I took time off, and I drove all the way out to Ciro's house in Missouri, and I brought him a table, and we set it up, and we did a live at his place, and we had a great old time. And I missed the guy like crazy. He's got a great wife and kid, great family, and he was just a wholesome dude, and I miss him dearly. But that was a blast. That was some fond memories.
There's something I wanted to ask you because I don't think if anybody knew. I don't even know if most of the people who are at that Craps for the Cure knew. Prior to the 30 roll challenge, did you and Ciro have a chance to actually play at the casino?
Yeah. Because the Craps for Cure is 24/7. You got to go sleep sometime. And I think that year it was like there was a certain number of people that were allowed to be in the mall when they were running it overnight when the mall hours closed. So Ciro and I weren't there. We just went down to a couple casinos across the street, and him and I just got to play. I mean, there was one time, I don't remember the casino. We were, whatever the one that was right next to the mall, I think, the fashion show mall on the
Treasure Island, I think it was.
Treasure Island, I think. We were at a craps table there, and we were just having a hoot and holler, and I kept bouncing the dice off the table like 6 rolls in a row. Just kept launching them off the table from their landing zone. And he was just giving me shit the entire time. He was like, "Could you keep them on the table? What are you doing?" And and Crystal was there. We all just had a great laugh, great time. And, we both colored up a little bit. I don't think we made a lot of money, but we were too busy screaming with each other the entire time. And it was him and I on the table. There was really nobody else. And we were just poking fun at each other the entire time. Like, "Oh, well, look who can't throw the dice. Oh, look who can't keep it on the table. Oh, look who can't
Yeah.
bet." So,
I think it's funny that on his channel he looked like he was 6'2".
oh yeah.
He looked big, like just a big guy. And it was hilarious the first time I met him because I was sitting at Treasure Island at the stadium craps. And I was like, he says OBC, and I turn around. He's like 3 inches shorter than I am, and I'm only like 5'8". I'm like, he must have been like 5'6" or something. Like, I was like, man, talk about somebody whose personality was so much bigger than their actual
Oh
height.
yeah. And I loved him
Yeah.
for it. And again, he was just he was such a ball of energy, and it made it exciting and fun to play. He was a goofball, but I loved him for it, and I miss him like crazy. It's just he brought something to the channel that I don't think I've seen from anybody else. And again, it's not a comparison thing. It's just that was his niche and that was his skill set that everyone just kind of gravitated toward, and it was awesome.
Yeah, that Craps for the Cure was like probably my favorite Craps memory ever. Just because like it's the first time I got to meet you in person, right? First time I got to meet Ciro in person, and like we've all talked a ton, like phone, comments back and forth, emails, whatever it may be. But then like when we all met in person, it was like we've been buddies for 30 years, and like we grew up down the street from each other, and like we just had a great time. And then that 7 roll, like I will never forget like the gasp in that room. Like there was
he went white. He went white.
Yeah,
I mean,
there was
I was
only
standing next
one
to Chris, and Chris said, "Did he just 7 out?"
Yeah,
I think he just
And-
7 out.
it's crazy. There's only one other time I've heard a room go more silent than that, but that was like we were all sitting there, and I literally am on video. Like I drop below the table, and my hand is like, what the hell just happened? Like literally been talking all this shit. He's gonna get the table, 1 roll, and he's got nothing left. Like this challenge is over in 1 roll.
He had $25 left. And what he didn't do is he didn't keep $1 in his rail. He just threw it all on the field.
Yeah. Yep. And then you guys got Craig and I to battle the next year.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And then that was when we lost Ciro, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It was during that.
And if you guys really want to know why I stepped away for a bit, I guess I should get that cat out of the bag. I was downrange. I was in the gym when I heard about Ciro. And I think I can't remember who was reaching out to. I think it might have been Craig, it might have been you, or it might have been John. But somebody sent me a message, and I know Ciro and I were chatting back and forth because he was checking on me about every once a week, just saying, "Hey man, you doing good over there?" And I know I wasn't. We had shitty internet, so it was very limited interaction. But I was in the gym and I saw the message, and I was like, "Hey man, you're gonna be okay. Everything's gonna be good. Don't worry. The doctors are gonna take care of you." And then later that night, Ciro was gone, and that hit me pretty hard. That was a moment where I'm kind of sitting in another country, and I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, going, that was a really, really good friend of mine that, I don't know how I'm going to come back from that. And then about a week later, I lost another good friend of mine up in Alaska in a helicopter accident. And then a couple of weeks after that, I lost a very good friend that I went to high school with. That was one of my best friends when I was growing up. And then a few weeks after that, I lost another battle buddy not down range, but he was somewhere else. So in a matter of about 3 months, I lost 4 friends. And when I came home, it was like, I had to step away from everything. I was in a bad place at a bad time. And it was like, what am I doing? And I know we all talked about it, when Ciro was, we kind of had that scare. And I know Craig, you were doing the walking stuff, and you were working out with Craig and Old Bay. And, it was like, I need everyone. I love every single one of you guys. And I want to see everyone, take care of yourselves, and everybody, take a little bit of time out of every day and do something for yourself that is a little bit healthier. Maybe change. Like if you guys notice, I'm not really drinking Dr. Pepper anymore. Then again, I've gone on a completely different
I was going to ask you that. I was going to ask you where, like, I fully expected you to come on today, and I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I fully expected you to come on with like 3 Dr. Peppers in your hand.
No, so before I deployed, if everybody really wants to know, I used to weigh around 140 pounds, somewhere in there. And I've been in the military at that point for about 20 years before we rolled out the door on that last deployment. And, it hit me. My wife showed me a picture from when we were in Vegas, and I was playing that with Alex at Casino Quest. I went and did the 30 roll challenge and was like, woo. Yeah. He's one of the guys that I first started watching when I got back into craps. And she took a picture, and I'm wearing my Space Force grunt style t-shirt. And I looked anemic and malnourished and like, ugh. So I decided that when I was downrange, I was going to start working out again. And then when we lost Ciro and I lost my other friends, it was like, okay, it's time I'm getting older. I was in my 40s, still in my 40s. And I said, it's time I love all my friends, but I think they'd want the same thing from me that I'm asking for from them. And it's time to start, I walk every day. I work out 5 times. I got my own gym in the garage, and it's about an hour of working out with some weights every day. I still got to do my PT tests, but it's not about PT standards anymore for me. It's more about, I want a more healthier lifestyle. And again, I still eat junk food. I still do what I want to do when I want to do it, but maybe I can cut back. I still have a Dr. Pepper every once in a while, but it's maybe once a week now. I have 1 soda, whereas I drink a lot more water. I'm just, orange juice, things that are healthy for you. I try to stick to that now. And again, who knows what the future holds? I don't know. I could retire and last a month and be like, oh, well, at least I got a month of retirement and I'll be happy. Or I'll last till I'm 98 years old. Who knows? But it's,
You probably will.
it's one of those
You
things
probably will.
where I think that we all owe it to ourselves. And then I started working out, and now I'm about 192, 193 pounds. And my stuff doesn't fit as much anymore. Yeah.
No, but when you curl your arm to throw it, it's like you're breaking through your t-shirt.
I work on
There
a
you
little,
go.
and I think that, I was talking, if you guys watched the last live I did, because they only said I only do the lives and they only stay up for 24 hours, and then I put them in unlisted in my live section. But what I've realized is I'm throwing like crap right now. And I'm trying to remember, I don't know if you guys remember the video I did with Jeff from Mid-Atlantic and Ed from Roll to Win, where Ed he's a golden touch guy. He understands the mechanics of a toss. And, he came on and did that live with us and kind of taught me, hey, do this, move your arm this way. And if I can repeat the same mechanic, I can get, again, it's not going to keep the 7 from coming. It's just going to stay it off a little bit longer. And now that I'm back to throwing again, it's like, okay, was I throwing short all those times because I didn't have enough arm strength? Or do I need to maybe move from stick left 2 to stick left 3? Or do I need to go to the end of it? And I'm going to try that. That's what I'm going to be doing with the table, because I want to go to the Brownwater Bash. And I've already told Ed I'm coming. That's coming up in May. And my intention is I need to get practicing again. I need to be prepared to get on that table and meet the expectations that, these are shooters we're going to go play with. And if you can't shoot, it's like, get off the table. It's time for somebody else to take your spot. We're here to make money. And I want to be able to represent myself in the channel the right way. So no pressure, right? No pressure.
Well, do you think it's interesting that because you've literally changed yourself by 52 pounds, that your arms are bigger? It probably affected your throw.
Well, I've noticed in the last couple times and I come out here and practice on my own without any recordings or anything, and I've realized that my dice they're not getting into that corner where I want them to be. They're landing more flat to the wall in the center of the table, and I'm like, why can I not seem to get them to go straight down the pipe? And and I don't know if you guys can see it in the live recordings. I've tried kind of angling the dice where I set them on the table. I'm not doing a backswing. It's my fingers and keeping them flat on the top. There's so many, from what I've learned from Ed. Again, if you've got the discipline enough to practice so that it becomes muscle memory and you don't have to think about it, then you're going to throw better. And what I've learned from Ed's guidance and coaching, and from Jeff and John and you, Craig, and you, Chris, and everybody else that I've watched, because I watch like George from CY. When I watch people play craps on their channel, I'm watching their hands. I want to see how they throw. Cashier's cage, the chopper, we've all tried different ways of throwing, but I've come to what I enjoy. And, I've got the roll tracker, so I can figure out, I'll do 100, 300, 900 rolls before I go, okay, let's see if we have to change the dice set. But those little, where you set the dice on the table when you go to pick them up. Are you setting them right next to you on the pass line and you're picking up there, or you set them up on the field, on the lines on the table and going, all right, that's where I pick up. How far down is my thumb or up? When I release, am I pointing my fingers? Am I not pointing my fingers? Am I pushing with the thumb? Am I not pushing with the thumb? For example, when I go to release, right? When I release the dice, are they flat to the table like this? Or are they at a slight angle? Because if they're at this slight angle, they're going to shoot off to the left. If they're this much of an angle, they're going to shoot back to the right. Like I watched on your recording you just did the other day, Craig. You've got a when you come up, you do a twist with your wrist a little bit. And what I've noticed is all the way down to your elbow, but you're landing perfectly in the same spot. Again, that's your throw style. You're wanting to dissipate that energy from those dice as quickly as possible. You don't want that energy to go flying into the back wall. And
That's why maybe not the first toss on that video, but you saw on a couple of consecutive tosses that when I did that, because I have that high arc, when they bounce off the wall, they both stop at around the same air. They might be split, but they both stop, equidistant from the back wall. And I noticed that from having that high arc.
And that's one of those great things. And that's where when I started learning, and Ed was telling me, just set a dice combination. I don't care what the dice combination. It could be a 5-3, a 3-1. Just set the same dice combination. Like I've got a dice. It's one of my casino tier dice that I had to mark, and it's always my left die. So when I'm practice shooting, I always know which one my left die is, and I always know which one my right die is. So when I'm tossing, I'm recording every single record. And again, you got to do, it's not like, oh, I did 72 tosses. Oh, I need to change you got to do like 900 plus and do it over and over and over again. And then you look at, hey, what dice combination gives me the best stay off the 7, the lowest number of 7s? Again, it's not going to keep the 7 from coming, but what gives me the best combination? And that's the one that I would probably be tossing when I'm at the live casino. But the thing of the matter is, when you're recording those dice tosses, you got to be serious about it. It's like, all right, if I know that I push with my thumb, I'm not going to count that roll because I don't want to be pushing. I want to be consistent. I only want to record what a good toss is for myself. Again, Chris is going to throw different, Dice DJ, Old Bay, everyone's going to throw different. Everyone's hands are different. Everyone's got a different swing. Some people do the backswing. Some people do a chopper. Again, everyone's different, and it's fine. You can have whatever throw you want. You just have to be consistent on, did I throw it and get, did they release my hands the right way? Like I've released and I know that I pulled my fingers back when I release it. Well, guess what? That's not what I want to be doing in the casino. I want them to fly out of my fingers and my hand didn't really move. It's just a light grip and toss. And Ed explains it the best. He's the only one out there and again, that's nothing against anybody. He's just the only one out there that has a very calm, cool, collected, and he really has got a skill set with his eyesight to see those little moves of your hand and your elbow. And, you want a straight line, use the pass line that goes all the way down the table as a runway, if you will, to try and keep your arm straight all the way down. But it's, I was doing that, and my dice, if you guys notice in my original videos, they always shot off to the top side of the table. It's like, how do I stop that? Well, it's because when my dice landed, they're landing like this on the table, this one, and it shoots that one. It just bounces and it shoots it off. Again, it's like, all right, well, how do I fix that? Well, you need to picture in your head those dice, like your high arc there, Old Bay, that high arc, they're coming and slap that table. And it's like, all right, you're dissipating that energy. You might get a little roll and get a secondary hit, and that's fine. Again, that's part of the skill set. And you're not going to get it in a day. You're not going to get it in a week. And you're probably not going to get it in a year to 3 years. It takes time and it takes a lot of practice. And that's, again, what my channel I want coming back is I'm going to do lives. But those lives are not going to be designed around, oh, I'm playing a bunch of different strategies. It's going to be like, all right, here's my game plan. Now I'm focusing on my dice tosses so that I can get back into practice. But yeah, I think it's an awesome skill set. And if you can do it, again, make more money. I like money.
We all want to make money.
Oh yeah. All right, Chris. So we know, you're coming back now. But one of our favorite series that you ever did, and I know it was an ode to your job and everything, was Desert Dice. And that whole series that you did. So how did you come up with the idea of it, and kind of what prompted you to do the Desert Dice series?
So we're getting ready to deploy, and I'm sitting here thinking, because I love doing craps, and it's a passion of mine. And when I say it's work and then craps, it's work and then craps. That's literally my life that it was when I was out in Colorado, and I was sitting there and I was upset. I was pissed off. I was like, this, and part of my language, but this is going to fucking suck. I can't throw dice for a fucking close to a year. What the fuck? I got this brand new craps table that I can't play with. And my wife was like, well, can't you make something and take it with you like you used to do? And I was like, huh. So we pack up our containers a few months before we roll out the door, and the containers will meet us there. It's all our extra baggage, our extra uniforms, and so forth. So while we were packing up the containers, one of my junior warrant officers came to me and she was like, "Hey, Chief, we've got some extra space in this container. It's almost empty. We've got to fill it, or else we're going to lose the container." And I was like, "Okay, well, I can fill that damn thing. Watch me." So I had my old chips, my original chips. I was like, "Well, I can get rid of those. I don't need to bring them home." And I went home. I went to Lowe's. I bought a bunch of lumber and some plywood, some really nice plywood. And I created an 8-foot table that would fold out, just solid plywood, but the inside of it was hollow. So when I closed it, I could put the chips in there. I could put dice in there. I could put the felt in there. I even bought like a 4-foot section of diamond wall, and I made a little piece of plywood that I could fold out and put up so I could put the diamond wall against it so it looked like an actual craps table. And I was like, so I bought all the stuff. I took an extra puck with me. I took some dice and I threw it all in there, packed it up, and I threw it in the container and locked it up and was like, all right, if it makes it, it makes it. If it doesn't, Because we lost a few containers that were traveling northbound. They got so the container made it. My soldier was like, "Hey, Chief, your table's here." And I had planned on doing desert dice because I was bitching about it, really. I shouldn't say talking. I was bitching about it at work. I was like, this is going to fucking suck. I can't do dice. I can't throw. Well, the team we were replacing downrange, they were like, "Oh, well, we have internet. It works just fine." I'm like, "All right, well, how good is this internet?" I'm like, "Oh, well, it's spotty at times, but it works." I'm like, "All right, well, I can go downrange." And okay. And one of the guys that was in the video with me, Jordan, a good friend of mine, fellow warrant officer, he was wanting to learn how to play craps, and he does not like math. He hates it with a passion. And he was like, "Well, why don't we do, you could teach," because he also has a YouTube channel, but he does some other stuff. So he was like, "Teach me how to play." I'm like, "All right, well, we can do a series on this and, some bankroll management stuff." And he's like, "Well, what are we going to call it?" And I was like, "I don't know." He's like, "Well, we're going to be in the middle of the desert." I was like, "Oh, desert dice." So we came up with desert dice. And if you guys go back and look at some of the shorts, he's the one on the aircraft with me where we're just sitting there staring into a short, just going, "Yeah, this is us being stupid and having a great old time." We looked young. So we get there, and what it was is then all the rest of my warrant officers, all my other people that I work with that are my counterparts, they're like, "Hey," so we would have sessions over at my room pretty much every night where we set up we had an old, a rickety, dining room table at one end of the room. And then we had the table down here. I measured on my table before I left. I knew it is exactly like 6 feet, 10 inches. I had a tape measure of like 6 feet, 10 inches from my landing zone to where my throwing station is. And just, that's what we did. I even put spray paint on the floor so that people knew where to stand. And it turned into a thing where we were just, it was a release for us. Because if you've never been deployed in the middle of the desert, there's not a lot of things to do. It's either work or sleep.
I'll take your word for it.
So it's boring. And there's really not a lot to do. So you got to find, like, you play spades or something, or play dominoes, and nowadays it wasn't like it was back in OIF3 where you maybe got a phone call once every 2 or 3 months. They have internet now. So it was like, all right, you can get a Wi-Fi puck and all that. So I think I was paying like $400 a month for the internet. It's not cheap, but it was like, all right, I'm not driving my car. I'm not paying for gas. Might as well do this. And it was, the downside was when you go to upload a video down there, it would take like 2 days. It was like, okay, well, that sucks. But it was a way for us to release. And it also was a way to show the community that, look, guys, yeah, I've got a job and I'm going to be away, but it doesn't mean I'm going to stop trying to provide as much content as I can because I want to have a good time. And again, like I've said this to numerous people, Craig, you and I've talked about this a lot. I enjoy this group. I enjoy the people I talk with in this community. And the reason I enjoy it so much is my life has been the military ever since I was 18 years old. And I'm going to be 43 this year. This has been my life. And it's great. I love it. There's good days, there's bad days. It's like any other job. But the craps community was a way for me to get away from it. And I don't have to deal with, deadlines or suspenses or aircraft flights or all the other bull crap that comes with a job. And it was just, I'm having a good time. I'm having a fun time. And I got to mess with my buddies a little bit. Like, "No, dude, you're doing that wrong. that's not what you do. No, you don't go on the field. You do this and just have a blast. And it was nice. What I really liked about it is I was able to sit and just focus on payouts and strategy and talking that. And I didn't have to throw the dice because they were throwing the dice. And it's, again, when you have that counterpart that you can work with, it's like Square Pair. I don't know if they're still doing videos, but the two of them, it was like one person would shoot, one person's kind of playing the bets. It goes quicker. It's more realistic. And yeah, Desert Dice became while we were deployed. I've actually still got the felt. It's actually sitting right there under the table, folded up. Eventually I'll get it framed and put up on the wall. All the guys signed it and everything, but it's
Nice.
when I came back from the deployment, I left all that stuff there for the next team. And I was like, they're like, you going to leave the felt? I was like, no, felt is mine. So that came back with me, but it was one of those, and that's why I was so kind of upset with myself that I had to step away from the community for a bit. And I didn't mean, and trust me, it was not intentional and it was not on purpose to step away for as long as I did. But I just felt that I needed to get to where I needed to be. Cause I did. I tried to come back. I think I got back from the deployment. I opened up my table. I turned my computer on. I did one live and then I stopped. It didn't feel right at that time. And then now, Craig, I give you a lot of the credit, brother. I mean, you're the one that has been, and it's nothing against anybody else. I'm not saying nobody else has checked up on me or any of that stuff, but you have been consistent with, hey man, how you been? Again, you weren't pressuring me to like, hey, get back into the YouTube and what the hell's taking you so long, you jackass. It was, hey, how you been? How's life? How's the kids? How's the family? And it was just, again, it started bringing me back to like, okay, this is what I've been missing. And, we're going to do some different series, if that's a word, as we continue.
We make up words all the time on this channel. So
Yeah. We have the Full of Chips dictionary that's
Nice.
growing by the episode.
But yeah, there's going to be some new stuff that's coming out. And again, it's, as you and I talked when we were chatting about me coming back, it was, I want to make my channel back to kind of my roots. I want to talk strategies. I want to roll them out. And I've read a lot of the comments from my old videos that, I didn't do enough random rolling. So the lives will be shooting. The videos will be random. That way it's like, all right, I'm not trying to bullshit anybody. But again, it's as you guys, when we were getting ready to do this, I'm doing some coding, trying to develop a new thing that you'll see it in the video. I don't know how to explain it. I'm dumb. But yeah, Desert Dice was a brainchild of the guys I worked with, trying to support me in supporting the community by continuously doing the stuff. And I gotta say thanks to them for that. It was a fun time. It was pissing me off though, because videos would be like, oh, I'm at 97%. Oh, I lost internet for 3 days. Oh, start all over again. Oh, I lost internet for another 3 days. So I know I didn't upload a lot of videos. My intention was to do one video a week, but what we ended up doing is I knew I was going down range. And I said to myself, I'm like, well, I'm not sure if the internet's going to work. So I recorded enough videos before I left for one video a week for the entire deployment. That was a lot of recording. So I
remember when you were doing that, because you were talking about it and you were like, the one day I was talking to you and you were like, I've been at this craps table for 18 straight hours. I'm like, you're out of your mind. Thank you, but you're out of your mind.
Again, I didn't want to be forgotten, if you will. I got a little selfish. I didn't want to be forgotten. I was like, oh, don't forget me. Because I didn't know if the internet was going to work. It was like, all right, this is a gamble. It's what we do, right? We gamble. And so I was like, my kids were home for Christmas. So my daughter-in-law did some videos with me. My sons did some videos with me. And we did a bunch of different strategies that we were planning on doing. And it was like, all right, we'll do one a week and we'll leave it at that. And it got us through it. And then we had to walk away for a bit. Though. Hopefully that answers your question.
No, that's fantastic. I think we can all agree that we are better craps players because of the community that we helped build since COVID.
Yeah.
And all the things that we do and all of the constant conversations we have about the game and the meetups and the, what do we call them, Chris? After the post session debrief that we do at like breakfast or lunch or something, or and then you get ready for that next session. All of that encompassed into us being better players, more disciplined, And I'm here to tell you, I mean, Sideshow, I don't think I've learned, I didn't learn discipline until this past September. And so I could have told you I've learned discipline like a year ago, but I definitely have stories and stories I've told you. Chris, you were there at some of them, and no, he still doesn't know discipline. So you got to have the discipline if you're gonna win at this game. You just have to.
100% the discipline. But I think another thing that a lot of people that watch that aren't YouTubers or content creators, if you will, is it's a lot of work. And you don't think that in the beginning. You get all that excitement and you're just like, yeah, let's go. And you look at some of my thumbnails from way back and it's like, what was I thinking? This is the stupidest thing ever. But it was just you're in that moment, and then it eventually catches up with you, and it's like, wow, this is another job. This is a lot of work. And I remember I was doing a video every 2 days, thinking this is what you do, right? This is how you become a YouTuber. And then I realized, okay, one a week is not enough. And then it's like, actually, it is. I don't have to do 7 videos a week. I can just do it when I'm, keep a consistency. But have fun. If you're not having fun doing it, but it is a lot of work, and I think for all of us, everyone in this panel right now, I think we all kind of hit that point at the same time. I think a lot of us did.
Yep.
And I think we're all kind of coming out of that phase now. It's like, okay, I've got some experience, I've got some discipline, and I'm going to apply that moving forward, and we're going to become better stewards of the profession. And we're going to be focused on a little bit like what we're talking about now in this interview, I guess. What we're all been talking about is our lessons that we've learned, and we're trying to give that to the community going, this is take our advice, but whether you heed it or not, that's your decision. It's not ours.
No, I think we can all agree that, and we've all experienced it, and everybody's different, but I got to a point where, we were doing videos, multiple videos per week. Editing takes 4 times it takes to actually record the video. And it was like, I'm not spending time with my family. I'm just doing this damn YouTube channel. So I'm like, and Sideshow, I don't think you know this, but I was having talks with John, Jeff, and Chris, and I called them each separately. And I said, I think I'm done. I said, I think I'm done all that I wanted to do. I'm satisfied. I said, I think by the time 2025 is over, or 2024, actually, I said, I think I'm done. But I knew I had some obligations in 2025. And then after April, it was like, done. I'm not doing anything more.
I have to do some reflecting here, because I think through our conversation tonight, when we talk about, that new person starting into craps play, they go to the casino, they've got all that excitement, like they're going to win it big. That's kind of the same when we got into YouTube. We were all like, we're going to hit this big, and it's going to be like, oh, look at this. And that same experience is now being applied to how we do our content. And it's, okay, we've got to take it a little bit easy, be a little bit more disciplined in what we're providing. And again, it's applicable to so many different things in life, in everything we do, if you really think about it. But I think when you truly understand what we're trying to provide, it's like we say in the military all the time. I didn't join the military to get rich, because you're not going to get rich in the military. I don't do the content to get rich. I do the content because I enjoy it, and it's wholesome. And I've met some great friends that I would have never met. We all never would have met if we weren't doing what we were doing, and if we all hadn't done meetups and gotten together. And again, who knows who we would be today. But I've got to thank the experiences. I thank my son for getting me started into it. And I've met some great people. I've met you guys. And I've really got no ill will toward any craps player that's on YouTube. I love them all.
How funny is that, though? How funny is that? Because if my son didn't go into professional dance in Vegas, I wouldn't know any of you. Because it was because his show was at the Mirage that I went to the Mirage, and I played craps for the first time. And I was like, what is this game? And then I just started watching YouTube videos over. I found John, I found Jeff, then I eventually found you guys. And I'm like, I literally watched videos for probably a straight month, like 4 hours a day of just YouTube craps videos.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's how it started. And then I was like, and probably you felt the same way, like, you're like, I think I can do that. I might be able to do that. And then you have that experience, and you have that taste of the YouTube life, and you're like, yeah, I kind of like this. I'm gonna do this. Well, now I'm gonna do this. I was like, well, this guy's running a series. Maybe I can run a series. And you're like,
Yeah.
done. There, you pick a series and you're like, there's my next 3 months of videos. But the thing is, you're like putting them 2 out a week, 3 out a week. And you're like, okay, this is getting a little exhausting.
Yeah.
But we kept doing it.
Happens
and
in
we
like
kept
all
doing it.
things though in life.
Yeah.
Like you could, I mean, you could get burnt out with anything, and like there's nothing wrong with taking a break, right? I mean, we all just did it basically, right? And like certain things take a back seat when life hits, and you got to make those choices. But again, we've all learned from it, right? We have different outlooks on what we're doing. You know, coming back, we still have the same experiences that we've had. You know, post some new content, whatever it may be. But like it's almost like a reinvigorating feeling coming back and like doing stuff and like talking to people again. Cause like when I took my break, I mean, craps was the last thought in my head. I wasn't even watching videos because I didn't want to watch. I didn't want to see anything. Like I got so, I don't want to say frustrated with it, but like I was doing so many other things, right, that were way more important than me putting a video out. And since I wasn't putting videos out, and again, like you said, right, might be selfish, I didn't want to watch other people's videos.
But
So I didn't.
You said it. You hit it nail on the head. Life gets in the way, and we all have to make changes. But what I do like is, look, the three of us haven't been on a video together in close to 2.5 years.
Yeah.
And we're back together, and it's like that 2.5 years wasn't there. It's like it's just we're just at the craft for the cure, but so much has changed. And as we go forward, I think we're going to apply some things we've learned over the last couple of years and going, okay, I'm going to come back, but I'm coming back, and I'm not going to be afraid, or I'm not going to be timid in saying, nah, that's a little past my limit right now. I'm going to stick to this, and we all respect that, and that's what I love about it. Like it was. I saw your video, I saw Craig's video, I saw Jeff, and it was like, oh my God, it's great to see everybody. And I wish the best for Jeff. I don't know if you guys watched his whole live, but he's dealing with some stuff, and prayers out to him. But and I'm just happy to see everybody still doing good. And we'll see where things go. A year from now, maybe we're all shooting better, maybe we all get some meetups in, maybe we don't. But it's not going to change how I feel about you guys or the rest of the community. I enjoy it. And I think we all do.
No, I think what's great, you brought up a lot of good points, is Chris and I had kind of quieted our channels for a while, and then he had the idea of wanting to do a podcast, and then he texted me, and he's like thinking about doing a podcast. And I'm like, oh my God. I said, I always wanted to do a podcast. And it's like, we got to this point where we're doing this podcast, but it's based on 4 years of experience that we had to go through to get to this point. And we knew that every 5 episodes, we wanted to interview people like you who had gone through the same exact experiences in regards to having experiences with craps and life and YouTube. And how did we all get through it? How are we all still relevant in some areas of the craps community? Outside of the craps community, we're not very relevant at all. But within the craps community, there's still people that want to see us do videos, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And we're thankful, and we have gratitude for all that.
People don't forget, like, I know you mentioned earlier, like in the selfish way, right? You didn't want to be forgotten. Like it's unbelievable, actually, like the connection of like the community and like the impact that one video may have on somebody. Like people don't forget, right? Like people are constantly reaching out. Have you heard from this person? Have you, seen how they're doing? Have you seen this? Like, when you were away, people were reaching out. You heard from Sideshow recently. Like, do you think he's coming back? Blah, blah, blah. It's like, don't know. But if he wants to, he'll come back. If he doesn't want to come back, he doesn't come back. Like, that's his decision. People ask me about Greg all the time. I'm like, I talked to him last week. He's doing well. Is he coming back? Hell no. But he's doing well, and he misses all of you. Like,
and again, like you just said, that's his decision, and we support it. But that's what I love about the community. And again, and I've seen other YouTube communities that are very like cutthroat. But this one, I don't know, maybe we all just started at the same time and we all kind of have that same mentality. It's felt more like a second family for me than anything else.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, we're all doing crap.
Oh, yeah.
We all have our own different niches, and we all have our own different styles. We all say things differently. but it's all, again, craps is just what brought us together. And it's like, I would love to get all of us on a table again. Only this time, let's play on a live table, not a casino
Yes.
table. But that was a vacation. It wasn't, I like the Craps for the Cure. I didn't look at that when John put that together. I didn't look at that like, oh, this is a work function. We got to go provide content. It was just be yourself, have a great time, and let's just make videos for people. Let's get donations. Let's raise some money for a cure, for some cause. And we were all about it. We're all like, let's do this. This is going to be fun. And it was.
Yep. All right, Craig, time for one of our favorite segments of the Full of Chips podcast. Is it time for the top 5?
It is time, and we're going to bring in Sideshow into this too, because this is what's been great about this podcast is that every time we've had an interview, and we're so thankful that you said yes, because Sideshow is the fifth or the sixth interview that have said yes to doing the top 5 with us. That's great.
Yes.
So here's the top 5 ways craps players keep you motivated. And I'll start with number 5. We go 5 down to 1 typically. So here's my number 5, the accountability buddy at the rail. That one friend who gives you that look when you start reaching for the yo bet you swore you'd stop making. They keep you disciplined without killing the fun.
There you go. Good number 5. Sideshow, what's your number 5 way that craps players keep each other motivated?
I would say my number 5 would be a motivator. Is I've got a buddy that's going to keep me pumped. Like, so when I'm going through the bad rolls, I'm, maybe the table's not giving me what I need. He's keeping me excited that it's just the next roll. Wait until the next roll. And he's keeping me in the game of excitement so I don't start thinking negative and I keep a positive attitude while I'm playing.
I like that one. Almost aligns with mine a little bit. My number 5 is the teammate. The one who's coaching you when you're at the table, giving you the words of encouragement. You got this. Same spot, same landing zone, same toss. Keep it going. They're in your ear, letting you know you're doing a good job. Keep it up. All right, Craig, number 4.
All right. Well, Sideshow must have watched previous podcasts because my number 4 is sort of goes with his as well. We always know we're going to have some overlap. The hype man who celebrates every hit. Even a $12 6 feels like a jackpot when your friend reacts like you just hit the ATS. Their energy keeps the table and your mindset high.
I love it.
There you go. Sideshow number 4.
My number 4 would be my blocker. So I've got a blocker that's usually at the other end of the table, and he's the guy down there because you can't yell to the other end of the table to tell him, hey, move your place bets or whatever, or move your pass line bet. He's my guy down there that's usually making sure the people down there are like, hey, man, that's where his landing zone is. And he's making sure my conditions are set for me to throw the way I need to throw so that everyone's making money. So my blocker.
100%.
There you go. I love that one. You'll hear that one from me in a little bit, probably. Hint, hint. My number 4 is the vibe police. They shut down negativity quicker than you can imagine. They keep a positive attitude going at the table. They avoid people saying the number 7. They don't talk about cold streaks. And when the energy needs a reset, they're pushing the button.
Excellent point.
All right, Craig. Number 3.
All right. Number 3, the stay in your lane strategist. This is the friend that reminds you of your plan when the table gets chaotic. They're the voice of reason that keeps you from chasing losses or abandoning your system.
I like that one. Sideshow, number 3.
So my number 3 is going to be my buddy that's usually my motivator. He's my bettor also. And he's not my bettor per se for my bets, but he's my bettor for my dealers. And he always keeps me up. So he always knows when I'm out of the hand. He's always like, hey, that first hit that I'm about to collect, I need to get my dealer bets out, at least 6 across. And so that, 1, there's 2 reasons for that. 1, I got to pay my dealers because they're taking care of me. And 2, it lets me know what numbers I'm hitting because they're always going to press by 1. So I know what numbers are hot. So my bettor.
There you
There you go.
Make those dealer bets.
Yep. My number 3 goes along with the hype man. Always letting people know shooters heating up, dice are talking. Keep shooting the way you're shooting. Don't focus on this. Worry about the toss. The one who's keeping your mind in check when you are rolling the dice and cashing some checks?
That's a hard one because and we've all been there. We've all been the person who's so focused on their toss, they forgot to play the ATS. They forgot to press their bets.
Yep.
And they come out of a 49 roller and they've only made $300 when they could have made $3,000.
Yep.
Facts.
All right, Craig, number 2.
All right, my number 2, the post-session debrief partner. Win or lose, they're the one you grab food with afterward to break down the session, laugh at the wild rolls, and reset your mindset for next session.
Nice.
There you go. Chris, number 2.
My number 2 is going to be, it's going to be making sure my buddy that's usually next to me, he's my positivity guy. He makes sure I'm not drinking. Hey, I'm allowed to have one drink. If we're going to have fun, I can have as many drinks as I want. But if we're going to make money, he lets me have one drink, usually on the first roll. And then after that, it's no more drinks until we've made our profit. So he keeps me balanced.
There you go. Craig, we never fail. My number 2 is the debrief debutante. The one I talk to after the session, figure out what went well, what didn't go well, what needs to change, and we may even grab some food. All right, Craig, number 1. Number 1,
right, my number 1
way that
is
craps players keep each other motivated. That's a mouthful.
It is. I don't know why I chose that one. My my number 1 is kind of comes from our camaraderie at Crash for the Cure, as well as Lou, who is the commander of camaraderie for the AC crew. The friend who reminds you why you play. They keep the game fun. They remind you it's about the experience, the camaraderie, and the stories, not just the chips. Motivation comes naturally when the table feels like home.
It's a good one. Chris, number 1.
My number 1 is going to be my blocker. So he's got a secondary role, and he's the puller. So he knows what we're all in there playing for, and he gives the look, and he's like, hey, we're done. He knows when we're all in profit, and he knows when to pull us off the table. No matter, even if we're on a great run, we'll regress down, and we just play with a pass line bet until we get out of the hand or we 7 out. But at least we locked up our profit. So he's our puller that's like, hey, it's time to step away for an hour or two, and then we at least lock up that profit.
There you go.
You got to lock up profit.
My number 1 is my bodyguard cheerleader, the one who's making sure my landing zone is clear and letting everybody know that I just hit the point, I hit the ATS, and even when I throw a 7, he'll tell me that was the prettiest 7 he's ever seen.
In conjunction with that, I've had Jeff at a table where I hit the ATS, and he turns to me, he's like, you know what you just did? And I'm like, what? He's like, you just hit the ATS. I'm like, I'm not on it.
Happens. It's how it happens sometimes, you know? It is what it is.
Oh, yeah.
Great top 5. Chris, thanks for joining us for our top 5. Always good to display all of the attributes that we mentioned. Whether you're playing craps, playing another game, you always want to be, the cheerleader, the blocker, focusing on making sure that you and your friends or your buddies or whoever you're with are all having a good time. Hopefully you're winning money, obviously. Even if you're not, though, you want to make sure that the vibes are good, the environment's good, and that you're just all having a good time together. That's not our tip of the episode, though, Craig. What's our tip of the episode?
All right. Our tip of the episode, and it's kind of a full circle since we're all back out on YouTube. The table didn't change. You just needed a reset. Getting back into the game you love isn't about reinventing yourself or proving anything. It's about remembering why you showed up in the first place. The table doesn't judge you for taking a break. The dice don't hold grudges. The felt is always right where you left it. When you return after time away, start simple, play the bets you trust, ease back into your rhythm, let the confidence rebuild naturally. Remember, it's about muscle memory, and the moment you settle back into your seat, you're already halfway there.
Great point.
Banger of a tip, Craig. That's a good one.
I like
Nothing wrong with a little bit of reset, some time away, some relaxation, whatever it may be. Get your mind right to hop back on the horse, as they say.
Just had to do a little regression. That's all we needed.
Just a little regression. Can't hit table max
Or a
without
lot
a
of
little
regression.
regression in there first, and then go up. No, but this was great episode 30. Chris, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for all you've done for the craps community. We
Definitely.
are very, very happy to have you back, and can't wait to see more of the stuff that you're going to be coming out with. And really enjoyed talking with you and learning some new things. I thought I knew a lot of things, but learned some new stuff today. So I'm happy about that. Hopefully our folks at home learned a lot today, because
I think they did.
I feel like some people might have to listen to this episode twice to really grasp the
Or 3
the
or 4
gravity
times.
of what we discussed.
Absolutely.
I can't say thanks enough for you guys for reaching out, just checking in on me over these past 2 years. But I thanks for having me on. I really do appreciate it, and it's been fun. This is what I've missed, and this is the whole reason why I started. So I'm looking forward to what's to come, and yeah, stay tuned.
Awesome.
We are looking forward to it. Craig, I'm going to let you take us out, but I
All
know
right.
what you're going to tell me, so tell me first, because you know I like to hear it.
Well, before I do that, I just want to take the opportunity, because we have the Sideshow here. And I may have mentioned it on the podcast once, but I don't remember. Chris, Sideshow, your live show was the first live show I ever joined to play against somebody, and it was Lou that I played against. And to this day, Lou tells me every time I see him, I'm the one that beat you. So
We'll have to maybe do a rematch one of these days. Get you and
seriously,
Lou back out there.
Lou's
know
learned
what?
how to press since then, though.
that's true. It's true. Lou had his 6 up to 90. I mean, that's not Lou, but 2% Lou was like 10% that day.
Well, there's got to be a rematch. You got to have a a retribution against. So we'll have to see if we can't
Right.
get that going again.
There you go. But Chris, Degen, nobody's going to know this if they don't know where to go and where to find the podcast.
They won't know where to find the podcast. First of all, though, everything that we've discussed today, videos mentioned, all of that will be linked down below. Chris's channel, Sideshow Gamble, is also linked down below. I will put up text in the beginning of the video saying that, because I failed to mention it in the beginning. But Full of Chips Podcast, you can find us. Email fullofchipspodcast@gmail.com. Full-length versions on Spotify, Apple, and YouTube. Almost forgot that one. I don't know how I forgot that one. And then short film content on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook. And don't forget to join the Patreon. It is linked down below. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. We'll start popping off in there soon enough. Thank you all for watching episode 30. Be a main character. Be like a sideshow. Be your own Sideshow Gamble. And then maybe you'll be full of chips.
On the